Hey everybody. Okay, we're here. It's been we just had some technical challenges there. So what I need to do first is just check in and first of all let you know you're in the right place. We've had emails going out at sort of all sorts of weird hours saying that the webinar was starting on Tuesday and I think this morning. And so thanks for bearing with me. Those things are not they're not within my control. We do our best to control it, but technology and software has a way of doing its own thing sometimes, kind of scary. What I do need you to do, though, is just let me know if you can hear me. My name is Jennifer Powder, and you are definitely in the right place if you're here to learn how to skyrocket your energy, learn how to get healthy, learn how to maybe drop some weight at the same time, and do it all without driving yourself crazy. I don't know if anybody was on. I had a webinar that I did last week, and if you watched that, I'm really glad you're back because I had a lot of learnings from that and lots of questions and conversations with women. And tonight I'm going to be taking it and making it just even a little bit more personal and a bit more real. Lara's on the line here just with Skype, and what she's letting me know is that chat box is not cooperating either. So I probably can't type in because you can't actually log in. That is so strange. So, I'm actually going to do something I've never done, mostly because I really enjoy being able to connect with everybody. And I'm going to give my cell phone number out. So if you do have questions, there's a live Q&A at the end, and I've got my text messages here in front of me. My number is 403-992-5367. And I want you to write that down. So it's 403-992-5367. Now, things to know. I am in Canada, so if you have an iPhone, it will be we can all communicate with no charges there. But it's going to be at least one way that you can ask me your questions, let me know your thoughts as I'm going through some of the material tonight. We will be on for just about an hour, and just if you have well, actually, I'm going to start to screen share my slides a little bit here. So. Lara, can you type that in for me? She's also saying that Lara is fantastic and you can Skype in your questions to her too. So if you're on Skype and you want to make sure that, you're getting that's a big part of it, right? I'm here, I'm an exercise physiologist. I've done this journey. I've walked this walk. I've got a lot of good stuff to share. So you can find her on Skype at LJUDE9, the number 9. All right, so thanks, Lara. That's amazing. So at least I think, well, it means you can hear me, right? If you're giving that number, or if you're giving us your Skype name. So let's just go here, and I'm gonna go straight to screen share. And whoa, that's just sort of loading here. Yeah, okay, that's really weird. Let's just grab that again because I think that took me to a really strange place. Oh, maybe let's just try this one. I'm going to share right there. Do you see all of that, you guys? Isn't that crazy? It's like the Matrix. It's like a little vortex. Lara, can you see? I just want to make sure that I'm able to get people seeing the title slide. It is learn how I got healthy, increased my energy, and lost pounds at the same time without dieting or spending hours at the gym. So let me just know if you can see that slide because I've got a brand new presentation. And it just means that you're not getting, the same information. Oh, good news. We've got our chat roll back up and working. So well, you now have my personal contact information and Lara's. So that's great. So let me ask you a favor. First of all, you want to get the most out of tonight. If you know me, you know that I try to slow it down, but I do cover a lot. And you're giving me a bit of your time, which is so valuable. I understand that. So just turn off anything that might distract you or cause you to multitask. I will be going through stuff quickly and keeping you engaged and asking your questions, and I want to know your answers. So Skype, email, text message, and so forth, just give yourself this time for you. Close the door, let yourself be truly present, and trust that you are here for a reason. So, if a Facebook ad came across your feed and you clicked on it and you opted into the webinar, there's a reason that you did that. And I want you to stay with me until the end. The reason is I do have, I've got a lot to share. And sometimes, I know that we can get pulled in different directions, but if you do, I promise you won't be sorry. And so I'm going to tell you a bit about me, and I want you to tell me a little bit about you. And I guess I want to start off by just asking, check in with yourself right now. And are you feeling tired and like you're running on empty most days? You know that feeling where your alarm goes off and you don't even want to get out of bed? Or before your feet even hit the ground, you already feel behind and you wonder, how are you going to do it? And somehow you do. Every night you fall into bed and you're exhausted, but you did it. Yet you're the one that's depleted, right? Everybody else is going to be getting the best of you, but you're not. Or tell me this, do you hate going shopping right now because you can't stand trying on clothes and seeing yourself in the mirror? No matter what you put on, I mean, God, if heaven forbid you even think about trying on shorts. I didn't wear shorts for probably 8 years. I hated how my legs looked in them. I didn't like wearing anything without sleeves. I didn't like trying on clothes because I resented what I looked and felt like in them. If you can relate, again, let me know. What about this one? Do you ever just wonder how in God's name you slipped so far off your own priority list? I mean, at one point you took care of yourself, right? You probably did things for yourself, and maybe with the advance, with possibly a family or busy work stuff or other commitments, you're not even on your own priority list. And that's how far you've slipped off it. And do you ever just you're smart, right? I swear to God, the women I work with are amazing, and most of them are highly accomplished, educated, motivated, highly high achieving, and they wonder, like, they want to be healthy. Perhaps you want to be healthy, but you just feel like you don't even know where to start, right? It seems like it's this big, complicated thing, and there are so many options out there, and some of them are just really extreme, right? It can feel like you're going to have to, completely give up gluten or start drinking green juice or start doing the latest, fitness trends. And you're already wondering, how are you going to fit that in when life is so busy? Well, here's what I need you to do. I need you to just breathe. Okay? Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And know that tonight you are 100% in the right place. And I can tell you that, and you can trust that you're in the right place if you're ready to cut through all of the diet bullshit. Most of it is lies. All right. So if that's something that you're sick of, you've been there, done that, you've tried the quick fix, you've done the injections, you've taken the drops, you've ordered the food, you've taken the supplements, you've tried the herbs, and it's just not gotten you where you want to get to, then good. You're talking my language then. Also, you're also in the right place if you know in your heart of hearts that taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, but is becoming a necessity. For me, this was one of the hardest things I had to admit. You're in the right place if it's simply time for you to create change in your life. And there will never be a better time than this, by the way. I often, listen. I get to speak with women every day, and I'm so privileged for that. And often we're waiting to find the right time, the time when life isn't so busy, the time when we're not going on a holiday, the time when the kids aren't sick, the time when we just have some more space. But the thing is, we design and live our life in a certain way. And, there will never be a better time except now. So I'm going to take you back a few years in my life, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit more personal than I did last week, because I think it's really important to know that if somebody can go through a journey and come out the other side, you can too. And so this is a picture here of in 2005. It was me finishing Ironman Canada. I was fit, I was healthy, I wasn't married yet, I didn't have children. I truly had all the time in the world, and yet I still felt busy. I remember that. I remember thinking, oh, I'm so busy. And now I would give anything to go back and have that kind of free, unstructured time. But the point is here, I was healthy. I wasn't carrying any extra weight. I was eating sort of, good food, and I wasn't really paying too much attention. I mean, I liked being healthy and stuff, but it was easy. It was easy to do. Then, I got married that fall, and about a year and a half later, I got pregnant. And a year and a half after that, got pregnant again. And so here I am now in 20,000 or 2010, right? That's the summer. It's a far cry from where I'd been just a few short years before. Those are my two little ones. That's Jake and Olivia. They're now 8 and 6, but in that picture, they're 3 and 1. And I'm on the couch in a hoodie and a pair of pajamas. I think it possibly could have been the middle of the day. And simply, I'm smiling, right? You can see I'm fulfilled with those children and I'm smiling on the outside. But honestly, I felt miserable on the inside. And this is what I didn't share last time. And I'm glad that I'm about to, because I think that it takes courage to speak up and to say and to talk about what was really going on. So I had 2 young kids. I had no family support in town, and I was super isolated. We literally had just moved into a house 3 days after I gave birth to live in a new neighborhood. I didn't have any friends where I moved to. I was alone. I felt super alone. At that point, the business I was in then, it was failing. I was, oddly enough, a business coach for women entrepreneurs, and I was actually good at it. I had made so many mistakes. I liked teaching other women what to do, but my passion was not there. And so there was financial struggles. My husband was a teacher and trying to get by on one income. It wasn't working for us. We were spending constantly beyond what was coming in. More importantly, I was completely disconnected from my husband. I didn't know it then on an intellectual level, but on an emotional level, I definitely was aware. We didn't feel close. I didn't feel like I had a partner. And eventually that did lead to a separation and in the process of divorce right now. And honestly, I just didn't know who I was anymore. I felt sick. I felt tired. I felt burnt out. And I hated how I felt. And so I became obsessed with getting healthy again. I mean, I'd been that once. So why, what would it take for me to get there again? And honestly, this wasn't about me striving to be perfect. In fact, that wasn't it at all. I just simply wanted to look and feel better. I wanted to be able to put on clothes and know that no matter what I put on, I could rock any outfit. I didn't do it on my own, though. And that's something that I really want to make clear. So I've got a master's degree in exercise physiology. My bachelor's is in kinesiology. I'm a certified exercise physiologist, life coach, emotional intelligence practitioner. So I have this huge skill set, right? And yet I couldn't help myself. I needed to reach out and get support. And so I did. I reached out, I hired a trainer, I talked to somebody about my nutrition, I started seeing a therapist, and I really had to depend on other people giving me their energy and being my rock when I was giving everything to my family. So it took about 6 months, but it was in December that I decided I can't be like this anymore, and I made changes. And that following July, that's me on the left. So within about 7 months of just really getting real with myself, of putting away the wine and the chocolate at night, of actually choosing to eat vegetables and not cookies, of deciding that sleep was more important than my business, that stress was simply not stressing about everything was not serving me, and that I could give myself permission to still have my own goals and do an event like Ironman again, I started to glow. And I started to grow as a human being. And I realized that's when I realized for me, taking care of myself, it isn't selfish. It's what I need to do in order to be and feel and look at my best. And yeah, you know what? It is possible to keep the weight off for good. It's the question I get all the time. Well, Jen, I lose weight. That's not the problem, but I can't keep it off. Well, that was me just last May. And in order to keep weight off, you have to understand how to lose weight in a healthy way. There are so many unhealthy ways to do things out there. Quick fixes, cleanses, detoxes, going down to super low kilocalorie diets. And if you can't imagine yourself doing it for 3 years, well, then how could you ever be successful for the rest of your life, right? Quick and dirty weight loss leads to quick and dirty weight regain. And that totally takes a toll on our psyche. Do you feel me on that? Can you relate? That might be you. And so really what I'm happy to do tonight is I'm going to be busting the myths that are holding you back and hopefully really, really clearing up some misunderstandings around your body, around health, around energy, and around weight loss. Because as much as we want all of those things, you know, I still wanted to fit into a pair of skinny jeans and wear a little pair of booties and know that I look good and not feel my stomach splooging over the top. I just didn't like that. So I'm going to dive into the first topic here. And this is one that's near and dear to my heart because there are so many myths about it. And it's metabolism myths and misunderstandings. So I want to talk about this because you're going to hear all sorts of things and you might read all sorts of things. And I want you to understand that I did spend a couple years in a lab testing people's metabolism. And if you don't know what metabolism is, it's simply your body's furnace, right? It's the chemical process of converting energy, of energy into utilizable energy to do movement and to live, right? And so a lot of times I'll hear, well, Jen, I must just have a slow metabolism, or I'm getting older, my metabolism's slow, it's not like it used to be, or I've dieted too much, I've really messed up my metabolism. So to make this clear, I thought I would resort to some pictures. So what is this, right? Well, it's a cat. It is a kitty cat. You've probably seen one in real life. My guess is you might even own one. And I mean, let's just really look at that cat. It's a mammal. It's its own species, and it looks really healthy to me. Like that looks like a healthy looking cat. It's petite. It looks like it's going to monitor. It's going to consume what it needs to consume in order to walk and run and play like cats do. And let's just hold that image of a cat in our mind and let's look at this picture. So what's that? It's a lion, right? So I actually haven't seen a lion close up, but I have seen one at the zoo and I've seen lots of pictures. I've got, kids, so we talk about animals a lot. And let's look at this lion for a second. I mean, so a lion is sort of the same species as a cat, but this lion is way bigger. Right? You can tell it's sitting there and it's got big, powerful paws and legs, and you can see its body is bigger, it's taller, it's thicker, it's heavier, it clearly has more muscle on it, right? So this lion has to make sure that it's getting enough to support his physiological requirements that he is eating to support the energy output that he expends in a day hunting and playing and walking around and sleeping, just like the cat does. So you've got this kitty cat and you've got a lion. So both are perfectly normal species. Both have fantastic physiologies, but each one has a unique physiology specific to it, right? So what would happen if a cat ate like a lion? Well, it would turn into a pretty big kitty cat, right? And here's what I want you to get. There's nothing wrong with that kitty cat's metabolism. It simply ate beyond what it could potentially burn off. And if there's nothing, only fat cells have no choice. They can only do one of three things. They can only get bigger, stay smaller, or stay the same size. So they can shrink, get bigger, or stay the same. So fat cells, because a kitty cat ate so much, it had to store that extra energy somewhere, right? And this is what I want you to take a look at here. This is really cool. This is a picture of fat cells. They're really basic cells. That little purple dot that you see in each of them, that's the nucleus. And then the rest of it is fat. It's a fat storage depot, basically. I just want to pause there and say that if you have any questions, another way to sort of get in touch with us is at support@jenniferpowder.com. So Lara's monitoring that. The chat box is still not working great, but support@jenniferpowder.com. And you just spell my last name, P-O-W-T as in Tango, E-R. Okay, so back to fat cells. So fat cells are a very basic cell in the body. They are not complex. Like, look at it. And that's, take a look at a brain cell. This is a brain cell. So you can see the very different cells, right? The dark pink is a nucleus. And, you've got the interconnectivity, and all of these cells have to speak to each other. And it's they're very, very complicated compared to the fat cell. So fat cells are predictable. They do what we ask them to do. But often we're giving our fat cells very mixed messages because the dieting world has set us up to believe that it needs to be all or none. We need to be good or bad. We are either, eating organic, green, clean, and veggies, or completely off, and we're getting veggie, we're getting on French fries and cookies and crackers and stuff like that. So here's what this looks like. When you gain weight, you start off, so on the left-hand side here, you've got fat cells. And then as you gain weight, fat cells do two things. One, they get bigger in size, okay? So that's how a fat cell gets, that's how we gain weight. We're eating a little bit more than we can handle. Our bodies have to do something with that energy. We can't just poop it out. It'd be nice if we could, but we can't. And I'm pretty descriptive here because it makes it clear and understandable. So all of that extra energy has to get stored. And I talk about fat in very, very basic terms, right? Like fat is just fat. It comes, it goes, and really it's a convertible form of energy if you know how to convert it. So when you gain weight, your fat cells increase in number and they increase in size. But fat cells they can't expand forever. There's a finite capacity to the storage facility. It's like filling your gas, it's like filling the tank in your car. Right? You can put lots of gas in and then pretty soon it gets full. And if you have more gas that's coming, well, you need to get another tank to fill. So your fat cells will multiply. So when you lose weight, what we're trying to do is we're trying to shrink the fat cell back down again because we're taking that stored energy and we're burning it. So what I want you to get is you don't have a bad metabolism. I've never, ever, ever seen a bad metabolism. I've tested them. I've seen metabolisms that are completely appropriate for the size, height, gender of an individual. If you have gained weight or have seen yourself slowly gain weight over the years, and it's very normal, they say that the average person gains 5 to 10 pounds a year, right? Because we tend to slow down a little bit in our 30s and 40s. We're not moving as much, we're not working out as much, and we're sitting a lot more. And so, but we're eating more too. And so that's what happens to the extra food that we put in. So there is nothing wrong with your metabolism. But what I see women doing all the time is they're like having a war with their metabolism, right? They're like, well, I want to eat as much as somebody who's 6'2" and male, because maybe that's what your partner is like, right? That could be how big he is. And so you do, and all of a sudden you're the one gaining weight and your partner doesn't gain a pound. So you're like, well, it must just be my metabolism. You're a little kitty cat and you're living in a lion-sized world. Our restaurants give portions designed for lions. Often we're taking serving sizes that are designed for lions, and we're little. I say we, thinking that probably most of you on this tonight are women, right? And so we're little. We're typically shorter in stature than males. We often have less muscle mass on us. And so we have no choice. We have to learn how to work with our unique physiology, just like a cat works with his own physiology and a lion works with his own physiology. If you have questions at the end about this, definitely let me know. I'm going to get through some of these and then I'll take a moment to answer some of those questions as they come in. The next big thing that I see that's super confusing out there is, well, just boost your metabolism. Right? If you boost your metabolism, that's going to be so much easier for you, to lose weight, because all of a sudden you're going to have more muscle in your body burning all those calories while you just sit there and do nothing. So there are a lot of misconceptions about it. And what, theoretically, to build muscle, you just need to go work out, right? We've all seen women in the gym, all the magazines recommending that we just go and lift weights. But sometimes that doesn't work because, we're busy and we've got busy lives. But the reality of this is, let's really break this down. Muscle does burn more calories than fat. Okay, so stay with me here. So it burns 6 calories per pound, muscle. Fat burns 3 calories per pound. So yes, muscle does burn more than fat. And these numbers are averages. Fat in the literature, it'll be 2 to 4 calories. Muscle, anywhere between 6 to 10. 10 more likely if you're male and a highly muscled individual. 6 more likely if you're female. And, I'm 41. So if you're around my age, it's probably around there, right around there for you too. But this isn't telling you the whole story. Okay, the whole story is that to actually build muscle, and I don't actually have this in a bullet point, so just listen in for a second. To build muscle, let's think about it. So often people want to build muscle to try and lose weight when they're wanting to lose weight and drop pounds. Well, to drop pounds, you typically need to be in a caloric deficit, right? Eating a little bit less than you're taking in so that those fat cells can release their energy and go to work for you. But if you think about building something, I mean, think about anything. If you want to build a house, you need materials. If you want to build a Lego house with your kids, you need building Lego blocks. If you want to, make a cake, you need ingredients to build the cake. Well, to build muscle, you need the building blocks to create it, which means you need to be in a caloric surplus. Well, it's very difficult to be in a caloric deficit and a caloric surplus at the exact same time, don't you think? So that's one point. And then just take a look at this, the average woman. And I mean, ladies, this is working really hard. This is in the gym 3 to 4 days, an hour at a time, going to failure with every set, knowing what you're doing. You might put on half a pound to a pound of muscle in a month. Okay, so we're going to take, let's just say 16 hours of our month, dedicate it to the gym, doesn't count travel time. Chances are you've got a family, you're busy, you're working, you're volunteering. So you now need to fit this into your month, right? So that you can gain in a year, maybe 6 to 12 pounds of muscle in a year. Well, and here's the thing, I love muscle. I'm all for it. I think it's wonderful. I think it looks nice. I think it's great to have it. I think it's great to help us age well. But when it comes to understanding the whole boosting metabolism thing, let's just say you did build 6 pounds in a year, times that by 6 calories per pound that a muscle burns. You now have an extra 36 calories a day you can burn. If you've worked really hard and maybe you've built up that extra 12 pounds of muscle, you now have an extra 72 calories a day that you don't have to worry about. That muscle is going to just burn off some of that calories while you're there. So that means you can now eat 1 Timbit or 10 almonds, right? So let that sink in. You're going to work 16 hours in a month diligently, at least without travel time, sacrificing time with your family to go and build muscle, which yes, I'm all for it, but it's simply easier to not eat the 1 Timbit or to not have the 10 almonds. And whoever stops at 10? Not that many people. I know I didn't anyways. So when we have to think about metabolism, you have to really understand that metabolism is a set thing for you. And yes, you can, if you lose weight first, you can definitely do some sustainable training in a gym, which will help you. But it is not the way to go about trying to lose weight, ladies. It can leave you more depleted and more exhausted than where you are right now. Now, the second thing that drives me crazy is that the second bullet point here, just drink or eat this product to boost your metabolism. So cayenne, pepper, lemon, tea, all sorts of unicorn blood. I'm mostly teasing there, but it's sort of like eat or drink this magical thing and you'll lose weight because you'll boost your metabolism. Well, if this was true, we would not have an obesity crisis in North America. So be really aware and just be really aware and conscious of what you're paying attention to, right? Because that's what can just lead us astray. It's like, oh, we want to do something. So week 1, we try this and then we didn't get the results. So week 2, we do something different. And then week 3, we're going to try this. And then nothing has, we've seen no results. We've done all sorts of different things. And now we're more, defeated than ever. All right. Another topic that drives me crazy. There is this belief out there that carbohydrates are bad and that somehow they're the culprit for, putting on weight. And I hear it all the time, especially if people have done Atkins or have gone gluten-free. It's like, oh, I dropped so much weight and then now I eat a piece of bread and I gain 5 pounds. So let me be really clear in my philosophy on this. Carbs are not bad for you. It's because we eat too many carbs that's the problem, or we're eating carbohydrates that in and of itself aren't good for us. So carbs like this, right? And we think, oh, it's just little, like, oh, that handful of M&Ms there, it's no big deal. You're just going to have a handful, or you might be like me and I'd snack on chocolate chips. So you might have a bag of M&Ms in the, at work in your desk or in your car or in a cupboard. And every now and then you just grab a handful. And it could add up to maybe 4 or 5 handfuls in a day. And you think, oh, but I'm doing so well because I'm not eating bread, pasta, rice, sandwiches. So you think you're carb-free or gluten-free, right? Because that's just chocolate, it's sugar. pop, juice, chocolate bars, those sweet treats. It doesn't mean that, you can't have this stuff, but often we are denying ourselves the complex carbohydrates that give us the fuel that we need, the energy that we have to have so that we can, get through our day with the demands on our body. So carbs are not bad for us. It's when we are not getting enough vegetables and we're trying to fill up on carbohydrate that really matters. And this was a big thing for me. If you listened to me last week, I was saying that I was on the treadmill one day on a big incline and holding my hand weights, walking, and my friend said I was complaining about my weight. So my girlfriend was there and she came up to me and we were talking about it, and I was seriously at such a loss. And I told her that, and she looked at me and she's like, well, do you think you just might eat too much? And honestly, I was so indignant. I looked at her. I'm like, no, I eat really healthy, because I wasn't eating the foods on this slide. Although if you put down red wine and some chocolate chips, yeah, I was certainly having that way too often. And so if you relate this back to metabolism, right? These things are very, very dense, meaning that a small portion has a huge amount of calories in it. And we just can't handle that sometimes, which moves into my fourth thing that I want to talk about, which is I believe that I just needed to move more and eat less, right? Are you with me? Has anybody heard that one out there? Got to exercise more and eat less. Well, it sounds good in theory, and in lots of ways there are some truth to this, but it's a big but. It's not that simple, because when we start to exercise more, exercise is a suppressant of our appetite in the moment, but it can trigger a really big hunger response later on. And so we're going to eat because we feel like we're hungry. And then what happens is we have psychological permissiveness, I call it. So all of a sudden now, because you've exercised, you think you deserve a treat or a reward because, hey, you were so good. You just ran 5K or 8K, or you just went to the gym for the first time, or you did yoga. And so even though you've moved, you don't actually eat less. You actually end up eating more sometimes, or you take bigger portions without realizing it. And the challenge with exercise is we don't understand how to properly track how much we're actually burning. So the common scenario is that we will way overestimate the calories that we've burned with exercise, and we'll way underestimate the amount of nutrition or the amount of energy we're putting in our body. And at the end of the day, the cold, hard fact is you cannot out-train your nutrition. It's impossible. And so what I want to make clear about that is those 10 almonds, right? To burn off that, say, 100 calories we ate with the 10 almonds, or that one Timbit, I think it's around 80 maybe, and that would literally take us a good 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah, 10 to 12 minutes on a treadmill. If you have more than that, and the thing is, for me, I could eat a Timbit, a handful of almonds, a handful of chips, maybe a handful of dates or something, and maybe a handful of crackers in one day, and little handfuls, right? Well, I now need to go work out for at least an hour to burn that off, and probably chances are I've eaten a lot of stuff mindlessly. So here's where I'm going to ask you to get creative in terms of how you communicate with me, right? I want you to tell me. Text me, Skype me, or Skype Lara, send Lara something at our email, support@jenniferpowder.com, and tell me what drives you the most crazy when it comes to thinking about losing weight. And I truly want to know. I'm going to just go back here and talk with you all for a second. There we go. And so those were the things for me that really, really held me back when I was at that point of being my heaviest, of having one pair of pants to wear, of a feeling like every day, I was jacking up on coffee in the morning and throughout the day, and then using that to give me that burst of energy and to keep me going. And I thought that exercise would be how I would lose weight. And instead, I just ran myself into the ground. It was terrible. So if you want to know, there's some key principles here that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of actually getting your health and your energy back, right? Because that's what you want to do. Those things are, if you're a mom and if you're working and if you're busy, you don't even have to be a mom. You can just be busy, and you want to feel good handling everything you do. Number one, you are no longer allowed to sacrifice your sleep, okay? Not at all. Your sleep needs to be a non-negotiable. And the reason for that is I was in a downtown Calgary doing a presentation, and I asked people, so who here thinks that you gain weight if, who here gains weight if they're stressed? And about half the room put up their hand. And I said, well, who here gains or loses weight if they're feeling stressed? And about the other half of the room put up their hand. And I said, so interesting, we're all the same physiological beings, right? We're human. And yet half of you will gain weight when you're stressed and half of you will lose weight. So is it the stress that's creating that? Or is it how you're coping with the stress? Of course it is. It's how we cope with it. And when we are sleep deprived, if we are not handling things well, then we are not able to manage ourselves well. So Nadia, hi, I just heard that you need that question repeated. And the question was, if you're stressed, do you gain weight or do you lose weight? And the reason I asked it is because we have to start figuring out what is the root cause of what's happening to us. Is it the symptom, or is there another underlying factor there? And in this situation, it's how we handle our stress. And we know through documented studies that if you are sleep deprived, and sleep deprivation doesn't mean that you're only getting 2 hours of sleep. Sleep deprivation can be you're chronic or constantly only getting 6 hours of sleep when you truly do need 8. Or maybe you can function on 7, but you're constantly only giving yourself 5. When you are stressed like that, when your body is in a state of physiological stress, you have a hormonal response and cortisol is secreted. And then we start to live with this feeling of being constantly stressed all the time, and it becomes our normal. But then we also have a lot of feelings around it. When we're tired, we tend to make worse choices. If you're tired at work, you might go to Starbucks at 3, grab a coffee, grab a pastry. If you're tired, you might not feel like making breakfast in the morning, so you're going to grab a coffee and maybe a cookie on your way out the door. If you're tired when you get home from work, you might not feel like cooking, right? You might just be like, you just don't have time or the energy for it. So how we are doing and how we are taking care of ourselves matters. And so if you do neither, if you don't gain weight or lose weight, it may just be that you're at a perfect balance, right? The stress isn't going to cause you anything because you've got these habits that are foundational for you and you just rely on those. But I meet so many women who believe that for them to get their me time after the kids are in bed or after their work is done for the day, which is usually around 9, they will spend from 9 to 11 or to 12 p.m. kind of just feeling relaxing, right? Sitting with a glass of wine, sometimes watching Netflix, and maybe doing a little bit of work to try and catch up. But it's this illusion that we're enjoying our me time when really sleep is the best thing. When I had to do a complete reset in my life a few years ago, part of it was because, well, I absolutely had to, but I knew that what I was doing was not sustainable. And I went from going to bed at midnight or 1, and I had been breastfeeding during the nights because my daughter was little still, to going to bed, getting ready for bed at 9 o'clock, no matter what. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm saying to ask yourself, if sleep is not working for you, if you know you're not getting enough, what could you say no to say yes to a little bit more in that area of self-care? Okay, that's the first question. The second thing, that if you want to get your energy back, North Americans are completely deficient in vegetables. We do not get enough. And if you don't get enough veggies in your diet every day, then my guess is chances are you're filling up on carbs, right? Because carbohydrates are quick, they're crunchy, they're convenient, they're often packable, they don't go bad, they're salty, they can be sweet, and they're just really easy. Whereas coming into your kitchen and going to peel carrots or to get some celery or something, sometimes it feels like work. And if you're already tired, right, back to the first point, if you're already tired, you're probably just not going to do that. So the crackers become the choice. The granola bar becomes the choice. The can of beer or the bottle of beer becomes the choice. And so you've got to really think about, self-care means putting energy and time into your own health. And for me, I had a belief that, I was more valuable washing my floor than I was taking 10 minutes out to go for a walk or, taking 15 minutes to make and enjoy a salad. I just didn't believe it. The other thing that I want you to understand is that you have to make sure that you've got support in your life, that you have a way to cope with your emotions. And what I'm really getting into here is the way that we've become reliant on food to process or to deal with our emotions. So emotional eating is a simple way of saying it, right? So when we deal with our emotions, or when we don't want to feel our emotions, and it can start in childhood, right? If you fall down, if you get hurt, if you're sad, mom or dad could be like, oh, well, let's go have a cookie, or let's go make cookies, or it could be a way to bond. It could be a way to get love, give love. And so food becomes very embedded into, how we relate to those feelings. I know for me that I had a lot of hard stuff going on in my life, and I didn't want to pay attention to it. I wanted this whole world was happening over here, and I wanted to just sort of focus on the good things in my life and not give my attention to the things that were hard. So I drank some wine, and I would eat some chocolate chips, and I would just pretend that this life storm over here wasn't happening, but it still was. So it means that when we want to change, when we want to transform, an outer transformation, body weight changing, losing pounds, getting energy, feeling better, none of that can happen without working on the inner part of you. It's the inner transformation that leads to a sustainable outer transformation. Okay, so let me just go back here. Whoops, there we go. All right. That'll pop up for you shortly here. I know that there can be a bit of a delay. So I know that often women are doing something out of duty, like this belief that if we white knuckle and do it and we make it rigid and we do it in a really difficult way, that it will get somewhere. But what I know now is if you do something out of duty, it depletes you. But if you do something out of love, it will energize you. And one of the hardest things I had to learn how to do, and this might sound so hokey, but let me know if you've ever felt this way. It was to learn to love myself again, to love myself enough to take care of myself, to give myself permission to take time for myself. I just didn't know how to do that. So getting a few responses here that yes, there are some emotional eaters that you might know you're doing it, but not know what to do about it. And that's really common. The thing that I say a lot is that, you can't change what you're not aware of. You just can't. And so the first step is recognizing that you might be an emotional eater. The next step after that is asking yourself, well, what is going on in my life that is asking me to pay attention to it? So lots of us will switch to the behavior that we think we should change. Well, I just shouldn't drink wine and eat chocolate anymore. I go to that example because that was me. So I'm just gonna white knuckle this and never have that ever again. Well, that doesn't work, right? It just doesn't. I had to do the deeper work. I had to figure out, okay, what's really going on here? Because I can honestly say with the hundreds of women I've worked with who identify themselves with emotional, kind of numbing their feelings by eating or soothing themselves with food, every single one of them had life stuff going on for them, whether it was the stress of parenting, conflict in their relationship, just the fatigue of looking after sick parents, something from their past that was still plaguing them. Always, there was a reason why food had become that thing that they turned to. Because often this belief is, well, I'm a good person. I deserve this. I deserve to feel happy. I deserve a treat. I deserve to, feel good about myself. And hey, I'm going to eat that cupcake because it makes me happy in the moment. But then the next day you wake up and often you just didn't have one cupcake, you had 4. And now you don't feel so good about yourself. You feel crappy again. So let me just chime in here or check in to see if there are any questions. Lara, do me a favor, and if anything's come in through email, just send a quick note in Skype. And yeah, Nadia, so she says that when I get home, I want to cook, but don't have the energy and the time it would be, for it to be ready as it's time for her son to go to bed. So this is a big challenge, right? And I hear this, I'm a single mom of 2 kids, and I completely get how busy life can be. And there's strategies. I mean, literally, there are strategies that it's sort of like, how do I say it? It's sort of like running, right? Like you don't just run a 10K when you've never done it before. You train, and you don't just start running a 10K in your dress clothes. You have to sort of get the right equipment and get a training plan. Honest to God, learning how to cook and not have chaos in your kitchen at dinner time and actually be able to serve quick, healthy meals that you and your kids will like. I get it. It can be challenging. It can also be done though, right? And that's the thing is it means that often you're going to have to be willing to give more time on your weekends or to pick some time in your day on a Saturday or Sunday to prep your kitchen for the week. That is my main strategy. Is I'll take an hour out of a weekend to get all sorts of stuff ready, to batch cook, to get lettuce, all sorts of veggies chopped and peeled. Because if I have good stuff in the fridge to grab, I'll do that. If I don't, I'll grab the granola bar. I'm just like, those temptations exist for me, just like everybody else. Just waiting to see if there's any other questions popping in here. Oh yeah, Jill says, okay, so she's like, yeah, all of this is completely resonating for me. She's like, I feel like I've been believing all of these things that I read, and then I'm so confused. Where do I start? That is like it's a super great question. Where you start is one foot in front of the other, right? You do an assessment. You take a look. Okay, am I yo-yo dieting? Have I been trying to restrict my calories too much and then get sick of it and then I go and binge on the other end? Where am I getting in the way? Am I trying to counterbalance everything I eat with exercise, but then I get sick or the kids get sick and then you can't exercise? You've got to sort of figure out what is the thing that's holding you back? Because again, you can't change it if you're not aware of it. And I'm going to talk a bit more about, ways to go about helping you with that. So what I do know is that it does take courage to think about trying to lose weight again. And I know that because so often we've done so many different things. We've tried and we've failed. And often we've failed over and over again. It's not fun. It's not fun to feel like, you're not doing well. It's not fun to feel like you can't succeed at something. It's terrible having your weight and your health be your Achilles heel when you're successful in everything else that you do. So signing up and being here tonight was an act of courage. And every day, I swear, I find that I have to breathe in my own courage and exhale my own fear. And what I want you to get is this. There is a body science to weight loss. It is not magical. When you understand what you can put in and what your body needs, which I guarantee is going to be less than you think it is because you're female and you're a kitty cat, right? So it's less than you think. But when you understand the body science to it, it can become simple, it can become manageable, and it can become forever. You can get a new forever body without depleting yourself, running yourself ragged, or feeling like, you have to toil away every single day, pounding out the miles on the pavement or in the gym where you don't want to be. But don't get me wrong, exercise is important. It's a really important thing that we all need to do to be healthy, but it is not the best thing to do for weight loss. And if you were on last week, if you know me, if you've been reading my stuff, I believe that every woman should have a sense of freedom and control with her body. You just should. It should not be this weird thing that you feel is like against you or that you're battling. That's exhausting. And it makes you, feel like you're just not empowered. This home, this forever home, our body that we live in, well, it's yours. You should know it intimately. You should know what it needs. But here's the other thing I know. I know that if you do what you always have done, then you'll get what you always got. So if you keep going about trying with old strategies, old methods, old data, old facts, stuff that's not grounded in science, you will continually get frustration, weight loss that comes and goes, and that yo-yo effect with your weight. You won't get the energy that you want because when you feel bad about yourself, it's impossible to feel good on the inside. And can you relate to any of this? If you can, Skype yes to Laura, right? I want to know if I'm going down the right page for you. And this is a point where I think it's just so important to check in and to ask yourself, right? Like, why did you sign up today? My guess is that you want to feel good from the inside out and lose weight, but you don't know where to start. You feel overwhelmed with the conflicting nutrition and fitness advice out there, so you just keep putting it off. You just want to be told what to do and how to do this so it can be both easy and manageable in your life. And you want to feel like you again. You want to feel like when you look in the mirror, you're looking at you. And I think that was sort of one of the one of the biggest things that bugged me was like I had this sense of who I was. I was in my mid-30s, and my identity had been somebody previous to children and being overweight that was vivacious and fit and active, and I had this idea of what I looked like, and then I look in the mirror and I didn't see that woman. Nadia, you can relate? Yeah, good. Sarah can too. Jessica, yeah, ladies, you're not alone. And I'm glad I'm not the only one in feeling that way, right? Like that is the thing. It's like we don't talk about this because in some ways we're also very embarrassed a little bit that we feel this way. So we hide it. So the question becomes, well, what do you need to do to make things work in your life? What do you need to do to put all of these pieces together? And you've got options, right? You can silently struggle and suffer alone, possibly like you have been doing. Or you can get the support and the accountability and the guidance that you need. And I taught you all of this stuff before this so that you can understand a way that I break things down with a scientific, practical nature to really what it takes to be healthy, to understand your physiology, to know that there's ways, baby steps and strategies to, tackle mealtime chaos. And that is all of the stuff that I teach in my Energy to Thrive, Lose 20 Pounds by Summer program. This starts on Tuesday. And what is it? It is the most comprehensive group weight loss program out there that teaches you a step-by-step approach in terms of how to create a healthy lifestyle and the habits that you need to have to lose weight safely and keep it off forever, with the amazing side benefits of having more energy than ever before. It truly is the best science-based program for helping you reach all of your health and weight loss goals for once and for all. And the thing that's nice about it is you can lose the weight and never worry about it again, because this time it's forever. And so I want to tell you a little bit about it. And if you're on with me right now, stay with me, because although I did this webinar last week and it was wonderful, I needed to come back because I had more to share. And so if you're on with me, you're going to hear about the bonuses, but they're only on if you stay on with me for the next 5 minutes or so, right? I promise I'll get through this quickly. So here's what you get. Remember I talked about all the metabolism stuff, that you need to know how much your body can handle? Well, a lot of times you don't have that knowledge to figure it out for yourself. You're kind of left guessing and wondering and reading magazine or blog articles where you get maybe a general idea of what you need, but you don't know. You're following some sort of cookie cutter program designed for the masses, and every woman is unique. So I'll customize your food structure for you based on your likes, dislikes, allergies, and sensitivities. There's going to be 3 calls a month. They're recorded. You get the recording if you can't make the call live. We've got guest experts and bonus Q&A calls to throw in there. And you get step-by-step handouts, checklists, and templates to make your life easier. We've got an amazing private private Facebook group for the members in this group only. The women who have signed up already are incredible. Every Monday, I'm going to start your week off right with an inspiration. And to make sure that you don't lose your focus on the weekend, I'm going to make sure you know exactly what you need to do on Friday when you get the action step to keep you committed, basically. And this is what I know you'll get to leave with, because here's what you're going to create. Weight loss or weight loss results that you are going to be thrilled with and amazed that you did it so effortlessly. You're going to get healthy lifestyle habits that impact not just you, but everyone in your family too. I've got a client right now whose husband has lost 8 pounds as a byproduct of her learning how to cook and prep. Well, they're doing it as a family, don't get me wrong, but he's not in my program, and he's getting these side benefits too. You're going to decrease food and meal stress by being completely organized so you can actually enjoy that time with your family and not be snappy or stressed, and have energy and a sense of vitality that you just haven't experienced before. And here's the thing, I hope you caught that, like, I've been through this, I've done it, and if I can do it, you can do it. But I did not do it on my own. I had to reach out for help. And so what I've done is I've taken everything that I had to do, and I've basically created the curriculum to guide you. So in month number 1, our first month, we're going to learn exactly how to lose weight without giving up the food groups that you like or feeling deprived. You'll get that food plan. You're going to learn the one key thing that everyone who successfully loses weight does, and be able to practice it day in, day out. And if you get shaky with it, you've got guaranteed support. We talked a bit about emotional hunger earlier and what to do with it. You're going to learn how to really differentiate between the emotional hunger you experience and what true physiological hunger is. And you're going to get the power to cope with whatever life hands you without needing to rely on food or wine. In month 2, we're going to talk and create all sorts of strategies for breaking bad habits, creating new ones, and understand how you're going to go through the stages of grief. Yes, it does happen with weight loss. Why? Because you are leaving aspects of you behind. Habits that no longer serve you, you're going to let go of. And sometimes we get sad that we're not going to have our ice cream every single night. I was sad that I didn't get to eat or drink wine every single night. But what I wanted made me willing to do it. And I did it because my goal of wanting to feel good in my body again was worth it. So you're going to eliminate the bad habits you have while creating your healthy habits. You're going to learn how bargaining with food or using exercise as a key in your negotiations with what you get to eat and how much, why it hasn't been successful, and how to shift that to make this journey easy. Plus, I will help you create the best self-care routine for yourself that we can. Being, not insane, not like, you need to spend an hour at the spa every week. Who can do that? And it'd be great, but I can't right now at this point. In month 3, we bring in exercise. So remember how I said exercise wasn't the best thing to do, right? So we're going to break free of relying on exercise. And if you're an exercise hater, we're going to break you into learning how to move your body again and to love it without sabotaging yourself. So even if you're already busy, I'm going to show you exactly what to do to help get an exercise routine in your life that gives you energy and facilitates good weight loss. And you don't have to spend hours at the gym. If sugar cravings are things that are plaguing you right now, they won't call your name at night anymore because you're going to know how to ward those off. So we build on each week's calls and we build on months 1 and 2 so that you learn the strategies to keep going. Month 4, we bring it all together. All of the weight loss myths that are out there will be busted. You're going to be 100% in control of your body. You're going to feel empowered, excited, and loving it. This is the final phase of the program. And here we really dig into, initial commitment is awesome because we're excited, but it's the constant ability to recommit to ourselves and to our goals that makes the real difference in our life. You'll know exactly what to do to keep the weight off for good because you're going to enter into a weight maintenance cycle. And we'll know exactly how to keep your lifestyle habits developing for continued success. I'm just going to check in. Yeah, sugar cravings. Nadia, I know, I did too. And I didn't even feel like I did crave sugar. But we have a whole couple of modules just on, breaking the sugar habit, basically. How to know where sugar creeps in, why, when you get them. We have a whole section that really dives deep into handling that. And let me just say, I had, there was another client was in my program and she was 40 and she said, never in a million years, ever, did I ever think I could get off sugar. And she said, and then I did. My life has never been the same. So it's on a testimonial on my website there. And, again, if you're thinking, I can't get off sugar, you have to remember if one woman was the same way you are and changed, so can you. So really, this is such an opportunity to finally access the knowledge and the info that you need, right? I know this stuff. I'm a nerd at heart. I dig into the research. I read research papers at night for fun at night. No woman can achieve an amazing goal on her own. We all need support and we all need accountability. Why? Because you will be willing to be not accountable to yourself. We give ourselves permission to fail sometimes, but when you're in a group and people are cheering you on, they won't let you do that. And finally, get the results you've dreamed of getting. I've had clients who've kept size 8 clothing and size 6 clothing in a box or in a bin, hoping, praying that they might fit back into it, ready to give it and donate it away. They do the program and they actually give all of their size 14, 12, 10 clothes away instead. How good is that, right? So if you stayed on, if you were able to hang out with me, this is my chance to give you something. And these are my fast action bonuses. And they are, without a doubt, my most favorite tools. They were the tools I used for my own success. And therefore, I know that they have the potential to help you too. So this is the fun part. So without a doubt, these have been two of the best things ever to come into my life. I've got the Fit book there. Oh, that image. I've got the Fit book there, which is a 4-month food and exercise tracking book. I've filled out probably 20 of these by now in the last 4 years. I absolutely adore it. And then there's also the kitchen scale. Like I said, we have to know what's going into our body. So if you're able to sign up tonight, these are going to be an automatic delivery to your doorstep. And then the next really exciting thing is getting the Fitbit Flex, right? So this, you get to pick your size. I'll make sure that we order you the right color. We can connect on the Fitbit app and be friends and keep each other motivated and accountable that way. There's other colors, by the way, besides this. But I was really trying to think, like, what's exciting? Like, how do we get, what was it that I used that really made all the difference? Now, just not to worry, if you did sign up during the last webinar fast action bonus, yes, you're getting this too. How exciting is that, right? So you didn't miss out, right? So I want to make sure that if you were here with me last week, you know that yes, these are going to be coming to you to your mailbox soon. But if you're on with me tonight, these are the gifts you don't want to miss out on. What do you do? Well, you can go to jenniferpowder.com, lose 20, and find the registration page. There's a lot of information on it, but if you scroll down to near the bottom, you're going to see the 2 different options. There's a payment plan and there's a monthly payment. Sorry, pay in full plan and a monthly payment plan. But here's what I want you to know. Chances are, if you've tried different programs, even with a coach like me, and you haven't had the results that you've wanted, then you might feel tentative, nervous, and you might be wondering, I don't know if I can spend money on myself again to do this. And honestly, those are the conversations I've been having with women over the last week. It's that I've been there, I've done that, I've bought this program, I've tried this package, and I just don't want to waste my money. So here's what I know. I trust and believe in the method that I use so much, completely. I trust myself in being able to work with you, support you, and design you the perfect plan that's easy for you, that I will give you a money back guarantee. So if you show up to the calls, right? So if you listen to the content, if you do some of the work that we're giving to you, if you're responding to if you're in the group and getting the support and reaching out and you aren't getting any results within a month, I'll refund you within the first 30 days. And now when I say results, let me just be clear that a lot of women think that they should be able to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds within a month. And that is simply not physiologically possible. So you will do it in a safe and healthy, permanent way. So this is going to be how it works. The monthly payment plan is $477 per month. The pay in full plan is $1,797 per month. And these are in Canadian prices. So if you're on the phone here with me or watching the webinar, and you're in the States, you get a big savings because of our exchange rate right now. So that's kind of lucky. But even said, what I want you to get is that this webinar offer will be open until Monday. That's when the cart closes. But the bonuses are only going to be offered tonight. $17.97 is pay in full. I think I may have just said monthly. I kind of heard myself in my head there. But let's really break this down. To know what it costs. I hired a trainer. I train a month. I paid $5 is $680 in 1 month. If you hire a nutritionist and you get, say, 4 sessions once a week, you're going to be looking at around $700 a month. And if you see a therapist or if you hire a life coach, then that's going to be around $750 a month. So in 1 month, it's possible to spend over $2,000 on trying to do this on your own. And it means that you're traveling to different places, it's tons of time wasted, and you still don't have anybody in your corner cheering you on or the support. So that's the difference, right? So here's what happens next. You can go to www.jenniferpowder.com//lose20, and you can choose either the payment plan or the pay in full option. You're going to click on the link and you'll get taken to an order form. Once you complete it, you're going to automatically get an email from me welcoming you to the program, and then you will get immediate access to the Facebook group. And then you and I could have our first Kickstart session as early as tomorrow. That may be a little rushed for some of you, so it could happen by next week. And even if it happens after the program starts, because again, we do start on Monday, that's okay. Monday, we are setting the stage for your success. So let me just turn this on. And now I'm going to stay here for the next 15 minutes to make sure I really get your questions answered. There's been so many times when I've been, on the fence or nervous, and I just needed to have a bit more information before I could make a decision for myself. So I'm just going to ask Lara to make sure that if you are sending in your questions either via Skype or at the support@jenniferpowder.com email, that she can put them into, her and I have a dialogue box here, so I'll get to them shortly. But yeah, here's actually that testimonial I was telling you. Remember that client who was 40? Well, here she says, I weigh less at 40 than when I was 28, and all because of me, Jen. It was actually the program, and she did the work. But she said she's healthier and have learned things about nutrition and her mindset, which is the key to lasting weight loss. And wait for it, she no longer craves sugar, which she never thought was possible. So Lara just said, so if you've got your computers in front of you, if you go to this link, you can join the chat, and that'll be one of the easiest ways to hop on in. So here it is. It's http:// So chatwing, chatwing.com/Jennifer-868. I'm going to say that one more time. It is http://chatwing.com/Jennifer-868. So if you hop into that, Lara will be able to, be directly in touch with you and answer any questions that you might have. Another really great client of mine was Kelsey. Kelsey's doctor actually referred her to me as she had a really serious health condition that was threatening her vision. And in the program, Kelsey was able to lose over 50 pounds and, got cleared by her neurologist. She wasn't going to lose her eyesight anymore, and definitely experienced some pretty amazing things. If you're wondering if you're too old, if menopause has hit, and if you're, hormonally going to be affected by weight loss or the ability to lose weight, know that Ruth, she was over 50, and she was so happy because finally, after carrying around an extra 20 pounds, she lost that weight and she has kept it off. And she's not the only one. I've worked with clients in their 50s and in their 60s who have been told by their doctors or their naturopaths that no, weight loss just wasn't going to be possible for them, that the medications they were on, that their post-menopausal status was just going to make it way too difficult. It's not true. And this is Jocelyn. Jocelyn said that she'd, in the left there, she had 9 counselors in the past few years before we met. And sometimes you just get that right click, right? The right information being delivered by the right person can make all the difference. All of a sudden, like what? Oh no, we just lost it there. I'm not sure what happened, but somehow the timer reset there. So there's a few more minutes. I'm not going to stay on that entire 15 minutes, but I think we were down to almost 10 there. I don't know what happened. I think that, again, technology is not always my not always my forte, I guess. It's not my blessing sometimes. So, the other thing that I want to say, so another question just came in, and what it says is, I've got a husband, a dog, a 6-year-old, and I work full time. Will this program work for me? And that's really funny. I had another email that literally was almost the exact same thing. I wonder if it's the same person come in today too. And what I want you to know is, I get this. I get it. I get what it's like to be busy, to feel like you don't have the time, to wonder how you're going to do it. How are you going to fit this in when it already feels like your schedule and your your schedule is so crazy jam-packed as it is, right? And it is possible, but it does mean that, change happens when you start to get uncomfortable. And we can be very uncomfortable, but we can tolerate it, right? We can tolerate our own stuckness and like miserableness a little bit, and we can deal with it, but it doesn't mean we're getting to our goal. And there was a time where I saw this lecture, and this man was saying that, basically humans are put on earth and we're meant to suffer. And I was in my early 30s, and I just thought that was the most depressing thing I'd ever heard. And it's not true. Well, it is true, I guess, because he went on to say that you're either suffering, staying stuck and struggling, wishing you were someplace different, or you suffer by getting uncomfortable and going after your goals, of feeling afraid and doing it anyway, of not knowing how, but taking action, of not having the confidence, but doing things anyways, sometimes failing, sometimes succeeding, but always, always moving in a direction, which is better than staying stuck. And let me tell you, I have had a boatload of failures over the last few years here, more than enough to fill a tanker, I'm sure. But each one has taught me something, and each one has let me become a stronger person, a wiser person, and definitely a more compassionate person. But the hardest thing was going back to that 5 years ago, because that's when I started my health journey. Right around this time, actually, about in January, I guess. And the hardest thing, the thing that was most uncomfortable for me, was giving myself permission to spend my time on me, to spend money on hiring a trainer, to spend money on, the food that I wanted to eat. And what's so crazy is I've got clients who've got their kids in $5,000, $10,000 hockey programs, gymnastic programs, all sorts of money being spent, and yet their own health is in jeopardy. Their own confidence and their own sense of body confidence is, being threatened, and yet we'll find ourselves not worth it. And if you're in that place, then no, it's so common. But one of the, it's a health bank, right? What we do with our health now, what we put into it, is what we get to bring out later on. We get to draw on that health bank when we're aging. And I say that because my mom happens to be in a assisted living place not too far away from me, but I get to be around old people a lot. And one of the things that I've seen is that a lot of times those people have to move to a facility like that because they don't have leg strength anymore. They can't get up. They can't walk. And they lose their independence. And we don't think about aging often. If you're in your 30s or 40s or even early 50s, that seems like a really, really long way away. And it is. But if we don't look after ourselves now, every 10 pounds we put on, if we're putting on 10 pounds this year, 10 pounds next year, and then pretty soon our joints aren't working when we're 70 and we're getting surgeries, and it's a downhill slide. And then I think the other thing that gets in the way is we want to be these really great role models for our kids, but we don't know how. And our kids start to dictate our food choices. I have seen this over and over again. And actually, a question just came in about that. I really want to be healthy. My family, not so much. How do I change this? So, Jillian, that's a really great question. And what it means is that, often the mom or the woman in the house is setting the health culture of the family. They just are. Often you're doing the grocery shopping. If you're not doing the grocery shopping, you might be creating the list. You might at least be doing some of the meal planning if you're doing that. And you're setting the stage. And this is why self-care for a mom is so important. We have to be able to be resilient enough to our children's whining that we have the ability to say no. No, you can't have chips. No, you can't have crackers. No, you can't have cookies. But you may have this veggie plate I made for you. And here's the thing, one of my clients who did this program last 2 times ago, she chatted in on Facebook. She's like, I've got the most annoying problem. She's like, I'm running out of veggies. I do all this veggie prep for myself, and my teenagers eat everything I'm prepping. I'm annoyed. And so, the group was pretty funny. We're like, well, that's a pretty good problem to have, actually. And even with the women in the group with young children, right? Our children are watching us. If we tell them to eat our veggies, but we're not, They're not going to. If we don't know how to serve veggies up in a variety of different textures and flavors, and how to serve it with healthy dips, Greek dips, or how to prep them so that our kids get exposure to them over and over again, then of course they're going to say that they don't like them. And when you're tired and you want your kid to just eat, you'll feed them macaroni. I've been there, right? And so there's nothing wrong with macaroni, as long as they're also getting their veggies and some protein too, right? It's all about just being balanced in that way. So just checking in, I'm going to just double check in with Lara, making sure that I'm keeping track of everything here, knowing that we did have some few challenges. So Lara, if there were any more questions, I saw the ones that came in there, please just pop them into Skype, and know that we're at about, I'm going to stay on for the next 8 minutes just in case, knowing that this program could change, it could change your life. And there's always the way that people talk about it was sort of like before I lose 20 and then after, and how it was like able to just really create such a positive impact in, in the participants' lives, their families' lives, their health, all of those things, right? And so that's the key, is being able to feel confident and in control again. And like, you can handle this. It's like, you got to remember that we often wait till we're ready or till we feel confident to do something. But the trick is doing it anyway, knowing that the action that you're taking is what's going to create your confidence. It's backwards, right? It's backwards to how we think it should be. And so, yeah, that's the trick of it all. Okay. Question. So Cindy just said that she's gluten intolerant and finds it really hard to figure out what she should be eating and when. Does the program work around issues like that? Yeah, Cindy, we do. My mom's actually celiac, and so I've become really familiar with what gluten intolerance, the symptoms of it, how to work around it. But here's the thing, right? You need to eat anyways. And chances are, you're trying to figure out what's healthy for you and what's not. And that's why every person gets a private Kickstart session with me. It's so that we can have those conversations and make sure that, I'm being really mindful of, what are your sensitivities? What are your allergies? What do you need? What do you eat? What do you like to eat? If you're gluten intolerant and hate rice and hate quinoa, well, then we've got to find some other ways for you to get really good sources of healthy carbohydrate into you. Maybe it's sweet potato, maybe it's going to be beans or something. But we work together to figure that out. So it's not cookie cutter. It's not like I've got like canned meal plans and canned templates that I just send off to you, because those don't work, right? And then that's the biggest thing is, oh, good. Oh, Brooklyn just asked if I give out meal, I'm just waiting for it, if I give out meal plans. So this is a really great question, and it's a yes, no. First of all, there's a whole module there, a whole section that teaches you all about how to meal plan. I swear, you guys, this was like the most confusing thing for me a long time ago. I didn't know how to meal plan. I wanted to, I knew it was good, but it just seemed like it was so much work, And I felt like I was going to have to be like going through cookbooks all the time and buying weird ingredients, and I'd be slow in the kitchen because I didn't know what I was doing. And so I just resisted it until I got so sick of being in chaos that I developed my own meal planning system. And that's what I teach you. I teach you exactly what you need to do to get your meals, organized for the week. And then, yes, I will be sharing all sorts of recipes where it's cook once, eat twice. That is the most productive way to save time in your kitchen, is to know how to batch cook some of that stuff and what tastes good and what you can freeze and really how you do it. And then once we've all developed a bit of a meal plan, because I'll do that with you and the other women are going to be developing a meal plan, we share them. So you get all these different resources and meal plans to support you, and yet all of it's done with like real food, right? So we don't rely on packaged food. We're not relying on supplements. You get to actually chew food, which I'm a big fan of. And so, yeah, I don't per se hand them out, because usually when meal plans have been created by somebody else without your input, you get that meal plan that, I've seen meal plans offered anywhere between $9 and $99 for a week or for a month of meals. And you look at it, and either it has, again, ingredients that you don't currently own, stuff that you don't know how to cook, seasonings that you don't like, stuff that's in there that your kids are going to turn their nose up at. And all of a sudden, this really great idea just gets thrown in the garbage because now it just seems like too much work. So it's way easier for us to take your meals that you already love to cook, your repertoire, and learn how to structure that so that, again, it's easy. Okay, so just winding up here, know that if you are, on the fence and you need to have a bit more time to think about this and to talk to me, you just need to reach out. I'm right here, and literally Friday and Monday are open days for me to make sure that I'm connecting with women who do want a bit more information. So you can go to www.jenniferpowder.com/lose20 to read all about the group program. But more importantly, I want, and of course, support at jenniferpowder.com to chat. But the reason that I felt like it was so important to share my journey is I truly did believe that I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand how I could have a master's in exercise physiology, know all about the body, have been an Ironman and multi-marathoner athlete, and be overweight. It just didn't jive for me, And that one pair of fat pants that I had, I was getting sick of those pretty quick. And, I just didn't feel like I was meant to be frumpy in my 30s or in my 40s or ever. And sometimes I just think it's so inspiring and motivating to know that if one person can change, then you can too. And I think about that all the time. And, if so-and-so can do that, well, so can I, right? Because we're all similar. But we usually can't do things that we don't know how to do unless we get a tiny bit of help. It's just like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Could I reshingle my roof? Well, I could probably do it. I could probably figure out how to order things and rip stuff off, but I don't have the strength. I don't really know. If I did it by myself, I would probably make, it'd probably leak, and I'd probably not do a very good job and it would look ugly. But if I got help with it, if I got trained to be taught how to do it properly, it's a totally different idea. And yet when it comes to our own health and to weight loss, we think that we're going to be just fine on our own, that we can do it on our own. And chances are, if you're on this tonight, you know that if you could have done it by now on your own, you would have, right? Like I stayed carrying an extra 35 pounds for, God, a year and a half. Like if I could have done it without help, it would have happened by then. And I've talked to some women, Ruth, who carried that extra weight for 20, working out, doing boot camps, trying to run, training for half marathons, totally thinking that exercise was like the vehicle for weight loss and not recognizing how impactful what goes in our mouth is. Every bite matters. And if you're eating like a lion, but you're a little kitty cat, your body's not broken. It's just we can't know what we don't know about food because food's become so confusing. And so I would love to teach you. It's something that I'm super passionate about because I had a profound effect on my life, my kids' lives, and then of course I get to watch the change happen in my clients' lives. So everyone, thank you for bearing with all of the technical challenges this past few days. I know it's been probably annoying a little bit, and I am super sorry. I'm a human on the other side of all of this tech nightmares, and I know that it can be frustrating, and it's certainly not intentional to create any frustration that way for you. My apologies, and if you were able to be on live with me tonight, I thank you for spending this time with me. Please go. I've got a brand new website, so you can go and check it out, look at some of the testimonials, see the information page for the program, and know that I'm always here. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to support you. I'm here to be that cheerleader who's got your back. I know that if I can do this, that you can too. Thanks so much, everybody. That is all from me tonight. Take really good care. Have a super good weekend. And that's it for now. Bye, everybody.